What would happen if women suddenly developed a fierce new power? That's the premise of Prime Video's new series, The Power, where suddenly and without warning, all teenage girls develop the power to electrocute people at will. Take a look.
This is in Nigeria, electricity coming out of their hands. All teenage girls?
Mom, I know some can, like, aim it.
How does yours work? Hey!
Will Reeve sat down with the Power star Toheeb Jimoh to discuss his role, his recent visit to the White House, advocating for mental health, and, of course, his claim to fame, Ted Lasso.
Today we have a story that's going to change the world.
This is in Nigeria, electricity coming out of their hands.
Thank you for being here. You've got this awesome new show. It's called The Power. You play a young Nigerian journalist. You document the phenomenon of these teenage girls who develop the power to electrocute people at will.
Yep.
What's happening in this show?
A lot. There's a lot going on, but like, yeah, just like you said, yeah, like this new thing happens and suddenly almost overnight, like these women have the ability to generate electricity through their hands and kind of just flips the power dynamic between men and women on its head.
Mom, I know some can, like, aim it.
How does yours work? Hey!
And my character kind of gets caught up in it. He almost accidentally releases the first real image of it, and so like kind of breaks the story, and then like finds himself in this position where he's got this new platform and he becomes like a major mouthpiece for these new events.
What made you want to do this?
Firstly, the character's Nigerian, and I'm Nigerian. I think for me, the first thing was, you know, playing a Nigerian character was important to me. You know, like I grew up at a time where the representation of Nigerians in the media wasn't one that I particularly liked, and you know, usually it wasn't a lot of Nigerians who were a part of like shaping that narrative. So there was that, but also, when I read the book, the arc that Tunde goes on is insane. Like it's a crazy journey, and like he kind of has to grow into manhood in this new world where, you know, one of the main male archetypical traits isn't there for him, and he has to rediscover what his masculinity looks like in this new world. And by the end of it, he's a completely different person than the person who he started with.
What do you hope that audiences are going to take away from The Power?
I think the main thing is, you know, like any great story, like the aim is to hold the mirror up to people. And I think through this, you know, weird, wacky sci-fi world that we're in, hopefully the aim is to come out of it and in your real life to realize like where you have power and where other people don't. And our show is set in a world where suddenly like these gender dynamics are flipped on their head. But also it's like, you know, the female characters we have in this show are just as complex and interesting and three-dimensional as any other characters, you know, like I don't think our show aims to promote the idea that, you know, suddenly women having the power turns us into this, like, matriarchal utopia. Like, I think there are also, like, some really interested, complicated women in the show.
And the show that made you, established you and burst you onto the scene, Ted Lasso, is also quite three-dimensional, and people can see themselves in a lot of the characters.
Yeah.
And in Sam, your character, I think, or at least we would hope to see ourselves in Sam with his positivity and his kindness and his athleticism and all of that. Season 3 is just sort of upon us. What do we have to look forward to?
Oh, man. I mean, I guess more of the same. Like, I think these, like, the main themes of the show are already up in the air, like teamwork, togetherness, looking for the best in people, being, like, the best version of yourself and trying to stay that way in a world that sometimes encourages you to close off and be a bit more cynical. We're getting to a stage now where, especially with the younger players on the team, like, they've started to learn these lessons and they can start to come into their own a bit more.
A huge element of Ted Lasso that has now permeated into the culture is discussions of mental health and of checking in with your people, checking in with yourself, of raising your hand when you need help. So much so that you and Jason Sudeikis and the rest of the core cast just got to pay a visit to the White House to speak about these topics.
Yep.
Describe your experience there.
It was an awesome opportunity, and you know, I got to like tip my hat to the president and the first lady because like they were awesome, and they really do deeply care about like how mental health is spoken about now and demystifying it. You know, like it shouldn't be this like thing that we shy away from. Like I think it should be something that's common knowledge, like and people should be able to speak about it freely in the same way that we speak about our physical health.
Can you take me back to when you set foot in the Oval Office? What was going through your heart and your mind in that moment?
You know, like that room has so much history, and so many of the world's most important decisions were made in that room. And suddenly here I am as a Nigerian kid, as a British kid, as a kid from Brixton, as a 25-year-old, like in that room with one of the most powerful people on the planet. I think also in that whole trip, one moment that really stood out to me is like there was a moment where we had done the entire tour, and then I like landed on a picture of Michelle Obama, and I was just like it felt like she had reached out through that picture and just like put her arms on my shoulder a little and just gone like, yo, you're good. Like, you belong here as much as I belong here.
It sounds like they couldn't have picked a better man for the role.
Oh man, thank you.
For that, for Sam on Ted Lasso, for Tunde on The Power, and whatever comes next.
That's really kind.
Thank you, my friend.
Our thanks to Will Reeve for that. The Power will premiere exclusively on Prime Video on Friday, March 31st, with new episodes available each Friday.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.